All right, thank you. Have a good night. Oh yeah. Perps are out tonight. The perps are out tonight. The perps are out tonight. The perps are out tonight. Yeah, I got off the bus trying to do that crowd and shit. I'm like, yeah, I see y'all. I see that you're digging this butt. Yeah. Yeah, talk about how they mask their stuff, right? Remember how they mask their targeting, so they'll do stuff like, putting their headphones in their back pocket. Like, who does that shit? You just come off the bus, sitting on the bus, you put your headphones in your back pocket. Come on now. See, I tell you, these perps, they don't think, right? They don't think critically. They've been dumbed down to engage in this sort of behavior because their belief system and those who are in positions of authority, these so-called religious people. All right. One thing I tell you, watching that video, I think it's called, what was that podcast called? What was it? No, I don't. See, they kind of ask me a question, right? And what I say, you guys, we see this all the time, right? I show you guys this all the time. What it is that they do. How they'll come and ask me questions, right? He just saw me walk over here. You saw him standing over there. He just saw me walk over here. Okay? Want to let you go. Know that. But what they want to do is want to test me to see if I'm going to answer. When he asks me a question, I'm not going to ignore him. I don't know. Right? And they have phones. You know what I'm saying? They have phones. It ain't Friday. It ain't like I think on Friday they can't even operate any electronics or whatever holiday, whatever. I don't know. That's their practice, right? But again, I just want you guys to know what it is that they do. There's always a test. They're always testing you. Again, and what does that test do? I want you to understand the fallacy of their mind and how they think, right? And because we operate under their system. But when you really pay attention and you really study and identify the madness, right, of their system, the ridiculousness of their system, you begin to see how this system is created to do what, right? To be at the detriment of non-white people, right? Particularly black people. Okay? Right? They build a psychological program within their system for us, right? And that's just one aspect of white supremacy, because you see, they have their expert doing what? Conducting experiments on controlling human behavior, right? Developing technologies, doing non-consensual experiment on human beings, right? To develop technology to control us. It's all about control. It's all about control. I already showed you the video that I did with these Jews. The rabbi said that there's no place for black people in the New World, but yet black people will want to be with these people. This is what their rabbi said. Their rabbi said, as a matter of fact, one of their top government officials said that young black people in America is the biggest threat to Israel. Right? And their rabbi said, and they're creating a new world and they're going to exclude black people. That's what they say. But again, we asleep at the wheel because we like, oh, Jesus got the wheel. Jesus ain't got shit. People are planning to manipulate us and to bring us back into slavery, and we up there in church talking about Jesus got the wheel. Keep saying, fuck your Jesus. Never existed. You can't prove it aside of your so-called Bible, and that's just a belief system. Know nothing about history. Using the name Jesus, the letter J wasn't invented until 1524. So how the fuck you gonna go Jesus? Right? No one named Jesus, Peter, Paul, Mark, Luke. Those are all English names. And this is where the Bible that we use come from. England, King James. Right? Before that, you had the Wycliffe Bible. Right? You had the Maccabees Bible, all before King James. We who call ourselves believers, particularly black people, don't know shit. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Study your religion, understand where it comes from. But try to teach them African spiritual system, you want no part of it. Not even your belief system, your sacred science is what they use to create this version of their religion and fucked up our mind, giving that to us. That's why we are fucked up people today. I'm not proud to say it, but it's the truth. Our minds are fucked up because of this religion, whether it be Christianity or Islam. While they practice in our spiritual system. You're saying, go read the book, The Golden Stool. White Christian traveling to Africa, explaining what the Europeans were going to do to us as black people. African people, how they're going to transplant our mind. How they're going to take our cultural values to improve their culture and give us their cultural value, which was deteriorating their culture. And now look, today, we people are a deteriorated people. But we don't read aside the Bible. Or we read books that makes us feel good, fantasy books. They clearly stated in the book, The Golden Stool, written in 1824, I believe. Right? This is a Christian bishop that wrote about what they were going to do to us. And up until to this day, they are doing the exact same thing. We might be living in different times, but they are doing the exact same thing. Right? They can say, oh, you crazy, all of this shit. I laugh because these people are the most crazy people, insane people, and they don't even know it. They have no concept of who they are as African people. They have no concept of who they are, period. Our psychology is given to us by white people, right? We study in their schools. They give us their education. So how do we know who we are? We won't even try to understand what black people practice in Africa, but they know. They know enough to take what Africans did, implement it in their culture, improve themselves, and give us their cultural belief system, and now we are a degraded people. But because we don't understand our history, and we don't read anything about true history, we're just believers, consumers and believers, not builders. We create. We're the most creative people on the planet. But we don't build anything substantial to improve the life of our people. Technology, nope. There is no country in Africa that is building advanced semiconductor manufacturing plants. There's no company in Africa that is designing computer microchips. There is no company in Africa, in all African nations, okay, that is developing a space program, right, that is building any sort of spaceship to explore the stars, right? No African nation have built, the Chinese built a spaceship. They went to the moon. The Japanese did also. You know what the Americans did, the Russians did, the French, the British. Okay? But we compete with each other. Who got the best clothes? You know, who got the best jobs? Right? Who got the most degrees? Got the PhD? I got a PhD. Right? That's what we like to boast about. Okay? While they're destroying the education of our children in the school system. While they're conditioning our women to disregard our children and their education. right? Tell you.
9 minutes.
Yeah, proud of it. I see you. I tell you. I love it. I love it. I love being public enemy. Because I'm going to teach these people. I'm going to teach them. I love being public enemy. Because I'm going to teach them. Right? I'm going to teach them. Right? So I want you to understand, you go into my community, you see command centers for the Hasidic Jews. You see them with the racist police, that they're on the police force. Remember, I grew up in Brooklyn. I know what it's like. I grew up as a teenager, their age, having cops, drive fast and, suddenly stop, tires screeching, jumping out of the vehicle, putting you up against the wall. Right? You don't, and these are the Jews, right? And as well as the American white racists, right? You don't see that. You don't see black police officer doing that to them. But this is the attitude that we have to take. Because if they can do it to our kids, we should do it to their kids. Right? But we as black people, we all loving. We will watch these people murder our children. I've never seen a black cop go into a white neighborhood and stop white teenagers and frisk them. But I see a lot of white cops come into our community and stop black children and frisk them. Right? So what does that say about us? What does that say about us as a people when we continue to let these racist white bastards kill our young children? Like that white cop who shot this black teenager 6 times in the back and then planted a gun and said that he had a gun. We don't see black cops doing that to white kids. This is why they don't respect us. Right? Because we know, these black cops know that if they were to do that to white kids, their ass would be in jail. But that cop wasn't even charged with murder. Right? Every year, thousands of black people get assaulted, killed by white racist cops. And they'll pick and choose 1 or 2 shootings by these white cops and put it on the national news to do what? To emotionally manipulate us. To see which new leader is going to emerge so they can take them down and destroy them. You must understand the game these people play. Right? You must understand the tactics and how they use these things to identify the leaders amongst us, our young leaders, so they can target them, so they can destroy them. Okay, I'm giving you guys the blueprint. This is what they do. This is why you will not see another Black Lives Matter movement for quite some time. Black people have to understand what's going on, be organized. Okay? Not only be organized, but we must start to develop a military-minded personality. That we must become militaristic in our thinking, in how we engage with other people who have took it upon themselves to wage war against us. Okay? This is what we must do. We cannot continue like this because it is not going to get better. It is only going to get worse. And when I talk about these things, nigger parents will close their ears. But it is your children or their children that's going to feel the repercussion of our ignorance, of our not wanting to look at the truth and the reality and to start doing something about it. Okay? Like I said, we need, as black people, we need to start supporting black militias, supporting groups like the Black Panther Party, because the U.S. government for decades have been funding these white supremacists. And don't be mistaken, because they may go after a few, okay? But go look up how many these private military contractors, right? How some of them become arms dealers, okay? Selling millions and millions of weapons in Africa, South America, making billions of dollars, okay? And they will always throw one under the bus to make it seem like they're doing something about it, right? You think the KKK is you don't hear anything about the KKK, right? They try to, some of them try to branch off and try to call each other new names, Proud Boys, or what have you, other names. But they've learned to stay out of the spotlight. They've learned to organize more. They've learned to train more. Okay? I keep saying, you gotta look at some of the private conversations some of these cops have in these private groups that they have. When they tell you, okay, they tell you that we can't wait for this race war. That black people are animals, monkeys, what have you, and they need to be hunted and shot. Okay? But we tend to ignore it, right? We tend to think that these things is not going to happen. Like I said, I'm willing to die for what I know. Are you willing to die for what you believe in? Right? Because they're willing to kill you. Right? They are willing to kill you. Right? They are willing to kill your children. Are you willing to kill their children? Are you willing to adopt the same mindset that they have towards you and your kids? And they'll say, oh, he's preaching hate. You see, I'm just saying it. I'm not doing it. They're saying it and they're doing it. Okay? So yeah. I tell you, Negropeans, man, the worst. The worst. And it's a reason why black people who love other blacks, who love themselves, who love black people in general, who wants to see black people do good and elevate in this society, are attacked. Because there's something that they don't want. They don't want black people to have economic opportunities to empower ourselves and the community that we live in, and to own. They have been reducing us to a consumer class. They have been engaging in predatory financial schemes against us, and we fall for it. The American dream, right? Taking your hard-earned money that you save, right? Engaging in predatory lending, and then that LJF 3247, right van, right? Then using your employer to lay you off so they can repossess your house. It's a scheme. It is a scheme. That's why you had the housing crash. Right? The housing market. Who did that affect the most? But black people. What did that do? That wiped out the majority of wealth black people have accumulated because we invested in homes that were sold to us at inflated prices. That we were paying, high mortgage rate. And then they started engaging in a mass layoff. They know what it is that they do. It is their way to always keep us at the bottom, always keep us from having any sort of economic gains as a group of people. So when we walk around and talk about our degrees, yeah, you got a PhD, you got a job that can't even pay you so that you can pay off your school loan. Right? So what good is that degree? Except to say I got a PhD, so you can feel good. Understand how we are conditioned, how we are emotionally manipulated, to where we rather feel happy as opposed to truly being happy, which is within ourselves, right? Not in the material things. Okay? So we are willing to do whatever it takes to get the material things. But when you're happy within yourself, you can achieve the material things without putting yourself or without falling into the traps that they have set for us. All right? Talk to you guys next.